Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That is Eric over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa over there.
Hello.
I am Kelly. This is our podcast. And speaking of podcasts,
Yes, I've heard of those.
we have a lot of listeners who have their own podcasts.
Yeah, no
and this is
kidding.
going to tie into the first film I'm going to talk about. But I thought I'd mention a couple of podcasts that if you are into podcasts, you might want to listen to. Obviously, we know Carlos has CZ Media, which talks about local celebrities and things like that. We have Bone Bat, of course, which is a very groovy mix of music and film stuff and ties in heavily to their film festival.
I would say Steve Hullett sits there as, one of the most obnoxiously cool people I've ever known.
Yeah.
He just exudes it, and his family's all amazing. It's just,
Yeah.
goddamn, dude. Well done.
Pretty effortlessly cool.
Yes.
City of Geek, obviously, we've had Tony and Kim sit in, and they record, I don't know if we would call it semi-regularly.
Occasionally.
Occasionally is a
with
good way to...
Bob, who you've seen Bob writing on our page quite a bit, too.
Yeah.
He watches,
Bob's really cool.
like, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that he's kind of in control of how many episodes come out.
Yeah, if it happens, it's because Bob, come on, let's all get together and
Right.
do this.
Right. One that I love that I listen to is called Theology of the Weird, which is a new one, which takes a Christian look at weird stuff like
Ooh.
aliens and things like that.
Oh,
And
nice.
so it's a very short podcast, but two believers who kind of talk about how this works if you are a believer.
When you
Oh,
say,
that's cool.
okay, I was going to say, when you say believer, do you mean believer in God or in the aliens and the ghosts and stuff?
Both.
Oh, great. Okay.
And
Thank
so
you.
they reconcile that. So, but one I want to talk about at length a little bit is Andrew Byers, who is a really good listener and a friend to the show. He's got something with his wife called Friday Night Fright Fest, where they do this cool kind of double feature. They find two movies that double feature together, and then they discuss both these movies. And this last episode, they did one on Late Night with the Devil, and then a film called The Cleansing.
Yes. I know
And
that one.
and the tie between these two films is they are both basically televised possessions.
Mm.
And so for my first film, I'm going to talk about The Cleansing, which I would not have given a shot if not for Andrew's podcast.
Oh,
When
cool.
I was talking about the devil, it's the film I was trying to think of was The Cleansing, which is really good. Which,
So you've seen this?
yeah, and it's also based on a short film that was at Crypticon Seattle a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
cool.
this is on Shudder, and it is about a guy who is a priest,
Mhm.
and he's got a small streaming company, and they perform exorcisms every couple of weeks. And they are all fake exorcisms, although they portray them as real. And he's got merchandise, like Vatican blessed prayer towels and things
cool.
like that. And he's got holy water
Sure.
that he's selling, all of this stuff. And he's really upset that they've only got like 50,000 subscribers.
Sure.
And
Rough.
and he should be, because they're clearly putting in thousands of dollars of effects into every exorcism they do. It opens with him exorcising a guy who's strapped to a gurney in a living room, and he's splashing with holy water, and the steam is rising up, and the candles are all exploding in flames and all this stuff, and finally exorcises the demon out of him, and you start seeing the money start coming in and all that, and then as the cameras go off, he shakes hands with everybody, including the possessed guy, and, talks to the guy who's doing all the effects. And we realize that all of this stuff is a load of shit. Until it's not, of course, because then they have a exorcism that goes wrong because the person is actually possessed. And it turned into a pretty great movie. The effects were really strong.
Yeah.
And when I looked at the credits, it was like Tom Woodruff doing the special effects and all this. I was like, oh, of course, the guy worked on fucking Aliens.
Mm.
So you're going to
Yeah.
get some nice practical effects. There were a lot of moments that I thought were really cheesy in it, but I gotta admit, I thought it was a much stronger ending than Late Night with the
Yeah.
Devil.
Yeah. I think Late Night with the Devil has great performances and such a great look
Yeah, yeah,
that makes it
absolutely.
really interesting and unique. I think The Cleansing is also a hell of a film.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
Yeah, really.
Wow.
I was, based on what Andrew and his wife were talking about, I wasn't sure if I was going to be watching like a really low budget something. This is not a big budget film, but it clearly has a budget. It looks fantastic, and the acting is really strong in it. And then the story was really interesting because all the people who are watching this exorcism are all over the world, and that means something big at the end of the movie when things
Oh.
start kind of going sideways. So I was just really surprised, and I got to thank Friday Night Fright Fest for putting this on my radar at all. I don't think I would have tried it without hearing that podcast. So
Yeah.
thanks,
Yes.
guys.
Nice.
A few years ago that I mentioned it, but not in any like long thing.
I remember you talking about it because it looked like something cool to check out, and I am definitely going to check this out. This sounds awesome.
I think it still has some of the original actors and playing
From
some
the
of the
short film?
roles. Yeah.
Mm.
Short film's worth checking out too. It's really well done. It's one of the truly rare instances where somebody makes a short film to make it into a feature later and actually gets to make it into a feature.
Right.
It's like them and Mike Flanagan.
Right. And this is called, again, The Cleansing Hour.
Nice. Well, I saw stuff. So last week I talked about going to see I saw the TV Glow or whatever that one's called.
Right.
It's always hard to remember the name of it. And so I decided to check out the other movie that they had made, and like I had remembered it coming out. We're all going to the World's Fair, and I was really interested, and then just never got around to it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to check this out, and immediately watched it after seeing TV Glow, and it is definitely a first-time film.
Yeah. I've seen this one too.
You
It's
have.
interesting.
It's
You have to.
fine. I didn't love it. I mean, you can see where they grew out of that, and some of the things maybe they're going to start to have good ideas for, but it's not in this film. It's super low budget. Like the actual shots are pretty shitty. There's a lot of like handheld, but like way too handheld, like you're in high school handheld. There's a lot of just like the storytelling is not very good. The characters not super interesting. It does have kind of a good discussion about DID, and like when there are maybe things going on with people that have maybe multiple personalities. Is that like what is happening or isn't it? So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. And then there's like other characters. I don't even know why they're there. Like the guy, the older dude who's like kind of maybe a pedophile, but also like helping all these kids to like do this challenge. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I didn't finish this movie, but this came out when it seemed like we were getting a lot of really low budget stuff that people were
Yeah.
kind of gushing about, Skinamarink and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I was like, I guess I am too old to get these movies.
I don't think you are. I think that it wasn't doing a great job of portraying itself. And like it's always hard to skirt that line of I want to be a YouTuber. And I think a movie like Fifth
Yeah.
Grade did a much better version of that exact same thing. I think there's a way to portray that universe that's accessible. And there's a way to portray it that only makes sense to you and your friends.
Okay.
So it felt like it was definitely leaning more towards like the you and your friends, like, you know, this filmmaker's getting it and excited to do it and getting something out of themselves. But I don't know that it's the best way to show that to other people.
Did well enough, though, that the guy was able to get theatrical for his next film, right? This is the film right before I saw the TV Glow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. They now have distribution for their film.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he transitioned maybe after this, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, no, it did. I did get enough interest and enough going to get the next one out, and I'm really glad. I'm really grateful because I do think TV Glow is it's a good film and it's kind of haunting.
Okay.
It does kind of stick with you. And I'm really curious if either of you get around to seeing it because I'm wondering if it's more effective on me because I grew up during that era where it's referencing very specific TV things, or if it's more universal than that. So
That should be good. I thought the World's Fair was an interesting experiment of a film. It was just
yeah, no, it's
more that
really
than it
good
was
for
an
a first
actual.
time.
More than that than was an actual movie.
Yes, an
So-
actual movie. I could have used that time to like make some cookies or something, but
I mean, I didn't think it was Skinamarink bad or anything like that.
well, but
it
at least Skinamarink bothered me and made me
It
angry.
did. It bothered you because of the content or because of the filmmaking.
Both.
Really?
It was very boring, but I was also very angry, and at least that stuck with me. The anger still stays with me. This, I
There you
think,
go.
it's just like a little forgettable and a little, I don't know. Skinamarink like leaves a bigger mark on planet Earth than this one does.
I do also enjoy when something like this, like going way back to The
Mhm.
Witch, when it got full theatrical and made hardcore horror fans go to the theater to watch a art house
Yeah,
witch movie.
that's something that's interesting.
The Skinamarink, I respect that part of it.
Yeah.
Probably not a movie I'll be buying
No,
on
I will
DVD or
never-
anything on
Right.
Blu-ray or something.
I'll
But
never watch it again. But there is something interesting happening right now in horror about liminal spaces. And so
Yeah.
Skinamarink exploring this space between reality and something else, just as a concept,
Yeah,
is pretty
yes.
interesting. A girl doing a YouTube challenge is less interesting to me. So
Cool.
there you go.
Well, per usual, let me dive us completely to a different area. I've been working on, like I mentioned last episode, I spent several weeks working on, well, not weeks, but a lot of time working on a video that about an hour long. So you know how long that can take. And so when I have been watching stuff, I've been watching some stupid stuff, not in the right kind of stupid. Blue Mountain State. Are either of you familiar with this show?
Sure, I'm not.
No.
It was from the short-lived Spike TV. So
Oh,
it gives you an
yeah.
idea of kind of the content it might have. It is definitely not a fly now day, but it is probably best known for me because of the introduction of Alan Richson.
Oh.
He
Reacher.
plays the captain of the defense, the captain of the team, and he's just a complete dork weirdo. And as it progresses, he starts to get more and more to do in the show because they figured out he's a great presence on screen. So it's fun to watch for that. It's Spike TV, so it's fairly sexist and fairly Animal House, I guess, is kind of a good comparison. That kind of a mentality. But he is fun. It's the story of this football team being college football team.
Gotcha.
So,
Blue Mountain State. What
Yeah.
are you watching this on since Spike
I
TV
think
is
it's,
long gone?
Yeah, long gone. Like Netflix.
I love having a background show.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about a film that is now available to rent. And Vanessa, you saw this, The First Omen.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. What did you think?
Good. Completely unnecessary.
Oh, sure.
Now, I love the Omen trilogy. The first three films, I think, are really, really strong films.
Yeah.
This doesn't do anything to really undo any of that, although there are a lot of nerds out there who are going, Damien was born of a jackal. How come we've got a nun here?
I have 100% heard that.
And I'm like, okay, well, I can get around that. But this does kind of lead to, immediately, we see a picture of Gregory Peck at the end of this, and that's who they're going to be giving Damien to. However, and I'm going to spoil something here because it is massive, and it has to have its own sequel because there are twins born. Damien is
Yes.
born and a girl.
Okay, so this was my question because I haven't seen anything past Omen 1. I just figured maybe Omen 4 or whatever had like a girl twin in it.
Omen 4 does have a girl in it, but it also takes place, 30 years later.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're setting this up for something. And now what I would be very cool with is if they wanted to set another 2 films during the other 2 movies where we're watching
Oh.
a side story of something that is maybe
Yeah.
winding
God,
between.
that'd be really cool.
It would be really cool and kind of like unprecedented.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I was like, this is a major thread to leave untied.
Yeah.
So I wonder what their idea is.
I will say that the thing that pissed me off, the only thing that really pissed me off about this movie was the last like 10 minutes. When he shows up at the cabin door and he's like,
Yeah.
by the way, his name is Damien. I'm like, why are you here? Why? Just go home.
It's-
Jesus Christ.
It's pretty good. I can't tell if I liked it more or less than what was the one that I was talking about?
Oh gosh.
The other nun exploitation.
Yeah.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah, with Sydney Sweeney.
Yes. Which I am going to see very soon, hopefully. Immaculate?
Immaculate. I don't know if I liked it more or less than that, except that this one is far more blockbuster horror,
Sure.
Oh, okay.
and the other one is indie, very creepy horror. This had all sorts of blockbuster moments in it.
It did, but I do like that they're still taking risks by trying to give it the feel of a 70s film and really set it in that, I don't know, it gives it really cool vibes.
Well, and there were a couple of scenes where they pull back, to these street scenes, and you're watching all these old 60s and 70s Italian cars driving around, and I'm like, how much of this is real? Because it looks fantastic, right? I was like, I can't even tell if this is digital or if they just spent a ton of money on this scene.
The world may never know.
Yeah, I liked a lot of it. There is a shocking vagina scene.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was kind of funny. I was just like, oh, girl. Just, I guess it's good you're becoming a nun if that's really freaking you out. I mean, it's so funny because it's not even, anyway. It's fine.
I was like, listen, we've all seen, full frontal nudity in various films. There's going to be one in my film I'm talking about today that was a little shocking. But this was like a lot of a vagina. And then I mean, this had to be the scene
like
that
James
was
Bond
pitched
character
to sell the movie to the company, right?
I wonder if we're talking about the same scene.
I'm talking about the scene where a fucking demon hand pops out of this girl's vagina.
Okay, yeah, all right. Then
There's more than one
well,
giant vagina.
I'm thinking of the childbirth scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That was just a.
I don't know. Maybe I'm
was
so
like-
used to seeing vaginas. I was just like, oh, all right.
Well, certainly. It's been many, many long days since I've seen a vagina.
Oh my god. Really interesting scene and really interesting how it kind of, is it real? Is it just her fears about,
Right.
like she's in this place and the birth and the whole way that her psychology is around motherhood, parenthood, and birthing. It's just,
Birthing.
Yeah. It's available to rent. It's The First Omen. Still hate that fucking title.
terrible title.
Because if it has a sequel now, what is it
Second
called?
The Second Omen.
The First Omen 2?
Yes. The First Omen Part 2. Just give it parts. It's ridiculous.
It's available for rental, and I thought it was well worth the rental price. So
So something that's come out on Disney Plus recently, and I've been kind of waiting for and excited about, is Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor Who?
Exactly.
Dun, 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 dun,
Who's on
dun,
first?
dun.
It's I'm really enjoying the season. I love the new Doctor. I saw him in Sex Education and thought he was wonderful there. He's not really stretching his range for this role. He's very similar in character, but I think he's very just personable. He doesn't stick to the whole thing that we've seen in many Doctor Who's as of late, where it's a specific costume that we're seeing over and over and over again. He changes wardrobe every episode,
wow.
Oh, interesting.
which has been cool because really it's him that's unique. It's not what he's wearing, and I think that's kind of cool. I'm still a little bit unsure about the assistant. I'm sure I will grow to love her, but at this point, I'm a little like, I'm not sure I super care about you yet. But the first two episodes were definitely interesting. They have these sort of horror vibes to them, which has been cool. The second one, especially, is like it's a stressful episode where you're not sure what's going on, and it's like you do feel like you're kind of trapped into a psychological horror.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, maybe that's the third episode. The second episode is about babies. It's kind of funny. It's like babies meets aliens, um, which is just as
my.
much as what you imagine it. And yes, it is that and more so. And the first one has a local, I think she's a local drag celebrity. I think it's Jinx Monsoon
Wow.
as the bad guy in it. Also has some very horror elements in it. So yeah, I don't know. It's been cool. I've been into it. So
That's good for the action figure line to have all those costume changes.
There you go.
darn tootin'. You can make a Barbie out of them and sell accessories. I don't know. I don't know. I'm tired, guys. Just bear with me.
Sure. No
Eric, you got
problem.
something to talk about?
I do. I'm gonna briefly dive back into the drama of my recent time. For our niece's birthday many months ago, we bought tickets to Billy Joel because she loves Billy Joel.
Mm.
So we're like, okay, we'll go. And she invited us to join her. She's like, take whoever you want. So, okay, we'll go. And then all the shit happened with my father-in-law, and there's a very dramatic Billy Joel related story that happened to him. One of the things they said in the hospital is play music he likes.
Mm.
And so he likes Billy Joel. So we played the new Billy Joel song, which is called Turn the Lights Back On. See if I get through this. The day he came out of it, it was literally like turning the lights on. And that's what Dina called it. So the day the lights turned back on.
Mm.
And we were watching his TV special not too long ago. And this song came on, and we all start crying. And he didn't really know why he was crying.
Mm.
And we told him that story. He's like, oh my God.
Wow.
So we feel like it might have impacted him when he was unaware. So we go to the concert, which was pretty good. Not great because Safeco T-Mobile Park, not the best for live sounds.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
If you're in the right place, it's great. If you're in the wrong place, it's fine. But he wears beanies. Always has, but a little bit more now because of the thing on his head. And Dina bought a Billy Joel beanie on it, not realizing until she put it on his head that the underneath thing was turn the lights back on.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, holy shit. It's just so neat and such a great moment in all the crap that's been happening recently. It was wonderful. Made it a very good concert. Sound was a little odd. It was weird that they had a Led Zeppelin cover band as the opening act,
Not a Led
Excellent.
Zeppelin cover band. That was
Well-
John Bonham's Led Zeppelin experience.
which is Led Zeppelin cover band.
Well,
They're not
he's
doing original
he's
songs.
the son of the original drummer, and everybody in the band is
They're
fucking
really
amazing.
good.
And they're doing Led Zeppelin. Yeah.
They're really good. They were fun because they were really excited. Because like we have never played for a crowd anywhere near this large ever.
Yeah, I've seen them many times, and it's always been at like the Moore
Yeah.
or the Mount Baker Theater up in Bellingham. I once saw them at the White River Amphitheater, but that's the extent of
Yeah,
what they play
and-
for.
The crowd showed up early for this, so there was a lot of people there. And yeah, they're fucking amazing. That lead singer is just, how the hell do you do that? And the Asian guitar player
Yeah.
has a real stage presence, just like the guys. It's like the way he stands and dresses
Yeah.
and hair. And then they came back on during Billy Joel, or at least the drummer did, and they played another Led Zeppelin song.
Oh, cool. With Billy singing?
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
neat.
no, with one of his band members
Oh,
who
wow.
also had a very Robert Plant sound.
Huh.
I would say one thing I wish I could have helped them before they did their set. He plays kind of obscure Zeppelin stuff. So the crowd was sort of neutral, and then he hit a hit,
Yeah.
and the crowd went nuts. I'm like, maybe for this show, okay, you don't do Stairway to Heaven, fine, I get it. But maybe for this show, you amp up and do some of the more well-known stuff, because the crowd was really fine. But when they hit that hit, the crowd went batshit crazy, which
That's
means they
interesting.
probably would have helped
They're
them.
like hungry for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because they were really, really
I
good.
guess that Billy Joel and Led Zeppelin fans aren't necessarily the same.
Yeah, they said they're there because Billy Joel loves us. He wanted us to
Yeah.
open for him.
Because I am a gigantic Zepp head. So
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize they had obscure songs.
They do. Especially when you're, in a crowd of age-wise diverse as that was. I was so really surprised how it wasn't just people my age and older.
Yeah. Clearly, you're not a Zeppelin fan.
No, I like Zeppelin.
Zeppelin also.
It's like all the songs like, oh, I've heard this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, oh, fuck yeah, I know this one. It was, okay, I've heard all of these.
Zeppelin also has the annoying habit of titling a song where that title is nowhere said
Right.
in the song.
Like
no.
the Immigrant Song or something like that. They're really good, though. Jesus Christ.
That's cool. And that's really cool about Marth
Mhm.
having
Yeah.
that moment.
That's incredible. That
Really
gives me
wild.
shivers. Holy shit.
It was very great. Very
Well,
great.
why don't we take a little break then? Oh, you know what? One thing I should mention. I said that the first Snowman was a rental, and it was when I got it. And then 2 days later, it showed up on fucking Hulu. So it's free on Hulu.
Oh, no.
Free on Hulu.
Oh,
Rental
God.
anywhere else. Let's take a little break. And then when we come back, we are talking about subtitled films.
“弱成这样也敢闯江湖？”
一个就手腕折了。
别打你的二破拳了，来条 Snickers。兄弟，怎么样？
来劲了！
You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers, get some nuts.
We have returned. Vanessa, this was your subgenre. Why are we talking about subtitles again?
Because of you.
Okay.
You
Because you're
son.
frustrating. Yes. Well, we needed a pretty broad topic. Pretty broad.
When I said I like
so-
pretty broads, I think you misunderstood what I was talking about. But
Next topic achieved. Pretty broads. All right.
let's put 10 minutes.
Characters
the
who breathe
buzzer.
oxygen. Oxygen. All right. So
Anyway.
this is this was a great opportunity
I'm tired too.
for me to talk about a movie that I've wanted to watch for a while. So I checked out Perfect Blue from 1997.
Excuse me, who are you? Excuse me, who are you?
Mima was a pop star.
This is Mima's last performance with Chan.
Who desired to become an actress.
I really hope that I can entertain you just the same as an actress.
But sometimes aspirations can be deadly.
I'm always watching Mima's room.
In the world of make-believe,
This is when Mima proves herself.
the price of fame
Don't worry, Mima, it'll be all right.
may not be worth the cost of identity.
Where did this come from? How do they know so much?
Innocence is lost. Dreams become nightmares. And privacy no longer exists. Where everything you do can be seen by everyone. And those you trust are really those you should fear. Your life no longer belongs to you.
Excuse me, who are
Manga
you?
Entertainment presents Satoshi Kon's animated psychological thriller, Perfect Blue.
Excuse me, who are you? Excuse me, who are you?
It's an anime by the director, writer, Satoshi Kon, who has 13 credits to his name, but they are all heavy hitters, including Paprika, Tokyo Godfathers, Millennium Actress, and also 13 episodes of a pretty well-known anime that I have not seen, Paranoia Agent. This is based off of the 1991 novel Perfect Blue, Complete Metamorphosis by Yoshikazu Takeuchi. Rotten Tomatoes score?
Sure.
Sorry,
I have nothing to say.
Look, I would normally do a better job, but it is hard for me to read. We'll talk about that another time. Rotten Tomatoes score of 83% from critics, 89% from audience, which is great because it is a pretty strong film. The budget box office is a little confusing. The Japanese quantity was 90 million yen or 830,000 US dollars. Box office 768,000 in the US only and 572 in Italy only. I'm going to say it must have done well because it's a pretty beloved movie. But I don't know how it did in all the other countries, so I'm going to guess it just kept adding to that amount. It is starring Junko Iwao, 109 credits, including Neon Genesis Evangelion and Evangelion 1.0, You Are Not Alone, and basically anything Neon Genesis. Also, 2000, no. I'm not sure how many episodes of Cardcaptor Sakura. Also, she was in Mojaku, Montana Jones, and just generally lots and lots of voice work. Rika Matsumoto, 161 credits, including 27 episodes of Stitch TV series, 48 episodes of Earth Squadron, something, and 1,220 episodes of Pokemon as Satoshi and others. It's okay. From here on out, we should be good. The story follows Mima. She's a lead singer of and member of a J-pop idol group called Sham. Whoa!
That was a good one.
Apologies.
Holy shit, Kelly.
That was impressive. I like that one.
As I was saying, Sham. It's the J-pop group. Her fans are absolutely obsessed. We see her performing on stage and people outside of the arena selling limited edition items and merch and just weird things that they say she touched. At the concert, she announces she's actually going to leave Cham. She does this on the advice of her agents so she can pursue becoming a full-time actress. Her fans, of course, are pissed. And it feels like it may have been a massive mistake when the only role she can get is a one-liner on a TV show that's basically Law and Order, but it's called Double Bind. She gets a fan letter from somebody leading her to a website. Now, this is 1997, so the internet is new. It's called Mima's Room, and it has a diary-style entry. It's almost like LiveJournal, where each day it's updated, and it's made in her voice, talking about her day-to-day activities, which is cute and kind of, weird, but it's also eerily accurate down to the brand of fish flakes that she's bought at the store that day. We get this really great scene where her agent Rumi is helping her plug in her computer and go onto the interweb, and she is so confused, and I will never figured this out by trying to put in a website into the address bar. So we're in that kind of a era. It's not aged super well. We are led to think that it may be an obsessed fan who she keeps seeing in the crowds and at shows and even on set occasionally, who has maybe made this website. And this person is very unsettling. They kind of look like a fish. Their eyes are on like the side of their face. They're very, very ugly. They're often drawn with almost an unfinished face. And she also, though, is so mad at herself and frustrated with the choices she's made in her life that while she's reading this website and becoming obsessed with it, she starts to feel like the Mima there is more her than she is. After her small role on Double Bind, the writer is coerced into expanding her role because she's pretty well known and has a big following, and she is given the opportunity to play a victim of a rape scene. Her agent Rumi objects and says Mima should not do it, but Mima says that she will because she wants to show everyone she is a serious actress. And the rape scene is, of course, incredibly difficult. She fully gives herself into the role. I mean, the guy who's raping her does during the pause apologize and goes, "I'm so sorry." And then they start action and he's, doing it again. And it's just so awful. After filming, she becomes distressed. And while pretending to be happy and confident in public and on interviews about her new acting career, she begins to fall apart in private. She catches a reflection of herself in a mirror and sees the version of herself dressed in her cham, sort of a Sailor Moon style outfit, telling herself that she is sold out and filthy. The reflection claims to be the real Mima and that she is the fake one. Meanwhile, Cham is now only a 2-person group and doing much better than it was when she was there. So again, she is not doing so hot. She falls further and further down this rabbit hole, agreeing to do things she does not want to do, including a photo shoot for a magazine where the guy is known for being able to coerce people into taking off more clothing than they really want to. She ends up being fully nude, and we do get a real full frontal everything shot drawing of her. She allows herself to continue to play this rape victim character on the show, and further episodes, they expand this character out more and more, and things just begin to bleed into her life. Her ability to tell reality from dreams completely melts away. We often cut from moment to moment where we see ourselves finding her basically in her headspace. We'll be in the middle of a dialogue of her scene, and then she just wakes up in her bed surrounded by shopping bags, having no idea how she got there. We see a scene where she confides in a therapist, and then later see the therapist at the wrap party, who is actually a fellow actress playing the therapist to the rape victim in a scene in the show she's filming. Her fish at one moment are dead and then alive in the next. And everything that she's doing seems to be mixed up with what's real, what's a dream, what's her imagination. Meanwhile, someone begins to murder the people around her who are altering her image, including the writer of the show, the photographer who took the nudes of her, and others. So will Mima learn to stand up for herself, return to singing, and take down the website? Or will she believe herself maybe as the killer, chase after her mirror image, barefoot through the cities of Tokyo, jumping across rooftops, which seems a little far-fetched, and end up in a far stranger and crazier twist ending than you could possibly imagine? Will you have any idea of what really happened / secretly wonder as an audience member whether or not she did any of the things that she did or said for several days after seeing it? Find out by streaming it free on HBO Max. This film, it was wonderful. It's bananas. It's fucking crazy editing. It's so thoughtful. It's so visual. It's so cool to sit through. But holy shit, what is happening? I don't know. I loved it. I think the only weird part in it really was it's a little dramatic. It's a little like over the top drama here and there. But that is just, the kind of time that it came out and the genre that it's in. The early internet scenes are always hilarious. They were never not going to be hilarious now. This, a little bit of trivia. Satoshi Kon was allowed to deviate from the original story, Perfect Blue, as long as it contained an idol singer and a stalker. He could do anything else that he wanted. And boy, howdy, he did. American pop legend Madonna uses extensive selections from this film as a backdrop animation during a dance interlude on the Drowned World Tour from 2001. The film's original 35mm camera negative was accidentally destroyed. As a result, all copies are sourced from lower quality prints. Darren Aronofsky loves this film and filmmaker. There are parallels between this film and the American movie Black Swan, starring Natalie Portman, as well as the famous bathtub scene in Requiem for a Dream is directly inspired by the bathtub scene in this film. It was well received critically in the festival circuit, winning awards at the 1997 Fantasia Festival in Montreal and Fantasporto in Portugal. That's my movie.
It's a good one.
Question.
Yes.
So this is basically a drama?
Yeah, it's a drama, but it has this sort of hallucinogenic energy to it. It's a drama / suspense. Yeah.
I'm not enough of a anime fan to know this, but I guess I was under the impression that most of or all anime was sci-fi, horror, stuff like that. So they do
it's everything.
Interesting.
Any genre that you can imagine. Anime is. I mean, it's just like another format. It's like filming in, I don't know, this is maybe too broad, but filming in digital versus filming on film. It's another style.
It seems like, is there any reason why this wouldn't have been made as a live action film instead? It seems like this would be a lot harder to do than a...
I don't know. I think that you can do anything you want when you draw, and therefore they can use the artistry of the way that you're seeing things to indicate her headspace. So you can bend images, you can blur lines. There's just a lot. At one point, because her imagination is fluctuating between what is real and what isn't, and who's Mima and who isn't, she can see characters as being people they aren't. Which lends itself to a really cool part in the ending scene of this. So I don't think it would actually work nearly as well in live action.
I watched this one about a year or so ago for the first time because it kept popping up on all these best of movies lists, not best of anime, best movies. I'm like, sure, I'll check it out because I'm like you, I'm not a huge anime fan. This is a fantastic film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Really intense and really wild.
Yeah, and I'd say his other works, I mean, Paprika inspired a lot of like Inception.
Is that also anime?
Yes, Paprika is also anime.
Paprika is one of the few I actually saw in theaters. That was at SIF years ago, and I was like, okay, let's check it out.
Oh man.
Wow.
That is a cool way to see it.
Yeah.
God, in the theater would have been awesome. Yeah, there's just visual, just feasts, just like absolute feasts, but they're not kids films like you would get with what's his name? Miyazaki.
Okay.
So
yeah, definitely not kids films.
Yeah, no, these are like adult theme. Oh my God. I was like, holy shit, I am seeing a lot of a JJ. It's upsetting. Even though it's not real, I'm like, oh, I feel so gross right now.
Well, there's a theme name you could go with for our title of this episode.
The JJ.
Putting 10 minutes. We won't be able to use that theme for my film because my full frontal is not of a JJ.
Oh, well, okay.
I chose for my film a movie called Night Watch.
Og de har sat dig ind i, hvad det her handler om?
Nej, ikke rigtigt.
Ja, de gør ikke noget.
Jeg synes bare, det lyder så ulækkert.
Når man har været her et stykke tid, får man dårlig ånd.
Fy for pokker. Tag det roligt, mand.
Hvordan ved I, det er den samme? Er vi fortrolige? Det er vi vist. Han har en signatur.
Signatur?
Han skalperer den.
Ja, det er nattevagten nede for 03. Alarmen er gået i gang. Vi udfordrer hinanden. Ja, du kan bede mig om alt, og jeg kan bede dig om alt. Den, der ikke tør, har tabt.
Du skal garanteret bare møde en eller anden.
Jeg tænkte på, hvorfor. Hvad fanden laver du?
Martin sagde, det skulle være med det samme. Du må altså meget undskylde med det om din kæreste. Ja. Du Du må altså få ham til at holde op.
Martin?
Jeg vil ikke gøre dig unødigt nervøs, men hvis det her er, hvad jeg tror, det er, så står der en meget farlig person i mørket lige bagved dig og ånder dig ned.
Nattevagten kommer her i biografen.
From 1994. Budget of no idea.
Yeah.
Box office of unknown. Rotten Tomato critics give it 71%, and the audience gives it 79%. It was written and directed by Ola Bornedal, who has 20 credits, including The Possession, Masturbator, Small Town Killers, and the English language remake of Night Watch, and also Night Watch Demons Are Forever, which is a sequel. 2023 sequel that is just now streaming on Shudder. Starring Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who has 69 credits, including Oblivion, Gods of Egypt, and 56 episodes of Game of Thrones as Jaime Lannister.
Okay,
This is his very first film.
Wow.
Sophie Grabel, who has 66 credits, including The Hour of the Lynx, The House That Jack Built, and I'm the Attachment. Kim Bodnia, who has 76 credits, including Night Watch, Demons Are Forever, White Widow, and 28 episodes of Killing Eve. And Ulf Pilgard, who has 109 credits, including Night Watch sequel, Demons Are Forever, All I Want for Christmas, 1 and 2.
Oh, God.
And The Inheritance. Have you guys seen Night Watch?
No.
I believe I did long ago because I saw the sequel or saw the remake and thought, ooh, I got to see the original, but that would have been quite a while ago.
Yeah, the remake has, I'll get to that.
Yeah.
Okay, Night Watch. So we're introduced to a group of friends, university students, and Martin, our protagonist, has decided he's going to take a job as a night watchman at the local morgue. His idea is that it will be quiet and he'll be able to do his studying during his work hours. On his first night there, the retiring night watchman walks him through the morgue and tells him his duties and what all the rooms are used for and stuff like that. They get down to the actual morgue room where all the corpses are, and Martin is very creeped out by this, and he kind of walks through it with his eyes closed. As everyone leaves the building for the night, a complete silence descends, and the slightest noise makes him jump, including this really atmospheric shot of a light with these moths kind of stuck in the light. I will just say that this film is so atmospheric. It's really, really cool. He does his rounds. Everything is fine, of course, but it is clearly a very strange job. The next day in class, Martin's friend Jens is talking about how boring life is, and they decide on a game of dare. They can dare each other anything, and if the other person doesn't do it, the loser has to marry his girlfriend.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
They both have perfectly nice girlfriends.
Okay.
But neither of them is excited about getting married, so I guess that's where we are with this.
Wow.
Okay.
That night in the bar, both of their girlfriends are hassled by some tough thugs, and the guys choose to look the other way. The girlfriends kind of leave in a huff, and so Martin dares Jens to pick a fight with the thugs, which he immediately does. And we see that Jens is maybe a little nutty, definitely kind of extreme, and perhaps on the edge of something much, much darker. But because Jens took the dare, he then dares Martin to set up a date with this local young prostitute, Joyce, at a nice restaurant. And then Jens starts paying the girl to do lewd acts to Martin in the restaurant, which is making Martin very uncomfortable. And actually, everybody in the diner very uncomfortable, including the waiter. We also find out that Jens, for some reason, told Joyce that his name was Martin and that Martin's name was Jens, which seems like stupid stuff at first, but all starts to make sense as we go. Meanwhile, Martin is continuing to work at the morgue, and one of those nights is disrupted when the latest victim of this local serial killer is brought in. Through talking to the detective on the case, Martin sees the victim who has been horribly mutilated through scalping. And Martin realizes that Joyce, the prostitute, was a friend of this murder victim. So, as the movie continues, strange things start happening in the morgue, causing Martin to doubt his own sanity. And we are right there along with him. So, evidence is starting to mount up, which seems to prove that Martin is the serial killer. He has no recollection of any of this stuff, but even he is starting to see that this evidence is really starting to point towards me. And finally, corpses are found violated in the morgue, as in fucked.
Violated.
And he's the only one who has access to them.
Ooh.
So I don't want to get too much into the rest of the story because it's pretty twisty and really tense, and they do a good job of making the viewer wonder what's going on. Like when he's doing his rounds through the morgue, it definitely feels like there is somebody following him. And so you're left wondering if maybe Martin isn't the killer, or is it Jens, who definitely has a very dark side and for some reason told the prostitute different names. The police are on Martin's trail. His girlfriend is starting to suspect something, especially when Joyce comes to her talking about all the horrible things Martin does to her. Or is it Martin? And there's a really nice third act that kind of caught me completely by surprise when everything is revealed. I was just like, oh, is that what's happening? I ended up liking this movie a lot. It is streaming on Shudder, and just added is the 2023 sequel with all the same actors again. It's a legacy sequel 30 years later. And they brought in everybody. I was like, I didn't realize this movie was big enough that it could warrant something like that. However, I'll get into that. The reason I chose this is because the sequel is splashed on the front page of Shudder. It says, Night Watch, Demons Are Forever. And I started watching it, and I thought, oh, this has got to be a ghost story or something. And I realized it wasn't. But then you picked subtitles, and I was like, I think I will watch the first movie of this and see what I feel. Definitely not a supernatural movie, but very much a creepy serial killer thriller. So, in Denmark, the film was so successful in 1993 that it ended up making more money in the country than Jurassic Park.
Oh my God.
That is why it warranted a legacy sequel.
Whoa.
The film influenced a number of Danish organ bequests to the Medical Anatomical Institute. By May 1997, over 100 people had withdrawn their organ wills.
Oh, no.
Professor Morten Muller strongly deplored the film's distorted image of doctors, students, and researchers' treatment of body parts, and he stated, the movie Night Watch has certainly not had a positive effect on us. I don't know what people imagine, that we should be sexually interested in the dead and want to lie down on their bed. A crazy fantasy that has not the slightest hold in reality. Which sounds like something a guy who fucks corpses would say.
Absolutely.
Protest a lot.
We know it happens, so...
An English language remake of the film, also titled Night Watch, was released in 1997 and directed by Ola Bornedal, but with a new script by Steven Soderbergh. Based on Bornedal's original film, it stars, listen to this cast, Ewan McGregor as Martin, Josh Brolin as James instead of Jens, and also has Patricia Arquette, Nick Nolte, Brad Dourif, and John C. Reilly. The remake was meant to build off the success of Scream, but it was a big flop.
So I didn't realize I actually have seen the remake.
Yeah.
So you describing it, I was like, that's familiar, that's not familiar. Oh, wait, we're doing subtitles. I haven't seen this movie.
Yeah, that was during my Ewan McGregor watch all his shit phase. And that's really good.
Oh, man, I had no idea that there was a original version of this. That's
not
so
only
cool.
did we not have any idea, but it outperformed Jurassic Park, and we had no idea.
No kidding. God, I feel like a dumb American right now. Jesus.
This is why remakes hurt sometimes.
This is available on Shudder. It's called Night Watch. The sequel is really good. It's really strong. It follows the daughter of one of the characters, and she takes the same job because she wants to find out more about this event that happened with her father.
Nice.
And I was like, it's not as good as the Night Watch one, but it is really solid. Certainly better than the legacy sequels we're getting to our own horror franchises. So I can heartily recommend
Even
Night
the
Watch.
idea there is really, the idea for the sequel is interesting.
That's just it. When they started, they got all the same cast back and everything. I was like, wow, somebody, and it's written and directed by the original writer-director too. So.
Wow. And Denmark.
Sorry.
Okay. And Denmark probably is supportive of the arts, I'm guessing, and they are
Well, it
like,
doesn't
let's
sound
chuck
like
some money.
the morgue people, the doctors, were supportive of it.
Well, I just meant they probably have a fund that they could, as a country, do this.
I will just say there is no corpse fucking scene in this, so you're safe there.
Cool.
Now you don't need to watch it. Sorry to you. I'm sure that disappoints you, Vanessa.
What? I was just thinking of the
10
Marilyn
minutes.
Monroe story. Jeez, guys.
Oh my. Okay, moving quickly along. I'm going to go with the completely unworrisome sounding title from 1975, The Suspicious Death of a Minor.
Come si chiamava la ragazza uccisa nella pensione?
Ma che ragazza?
Nome, cognome e motivo dell'uccisione della ragazza.
Marisa Pesce, motivo sconosciuto.
Avanti, parla!
Ma che razza di bastardo sei?
Razza di Stato.
Jeremy fa parte di una squadra speciale di polizia che svolge indagini non ufficiali sui sequestri di persone. Ma non è legale. E allora cosa dovremmo fare? Girarci i pollici mentre la gente viene rapita per la strada?
Che hai detto alle madame?
Non ho detto niente, solo quello che mi hanno detto di dire. Io non volevo entrare in questa sporca faccenda. Lavorare con le ragazzine è pericoloso.
Se eliminano i testimoni è perché hanno paura. E se hanno paura vuol dire che siamo più vicini alla verità di quanto sembra. Giù, state giù, state giù! Quello che vi chiedo è che non montiate troppo questa faccenda e che proteggiate ancora per un po' il mio anonimato. Vi porterò le prove e poi si vedrà.
Non mi va di fare la spia, chiaro?
Guarda che la spia la faccio io raccontando a mammina che fa i marchetti invece di cambiare pannolini e mocciosi.
Violazione di domicilio, scasso, devastazione, percosse multiple, minaccia a mano armata, tentato omicidio. L'avviso che sono costretto a procedere nei confronti del cosiddetto commissario Jeremy. Allora, ti puoi spiegare, Jeremy? È stata legittima difesa o no?
No, signore, legittima offesa. Fermo!
Uh-oh.
With an E or O?
Young.
Okay. Thank you.
This is yet another film I have found with absolutely no Rotten Tomato ratings. I am on a fucking roll, man.
Man.
It was made for, it's an Italian film, so it's my favorite way of saying what it cost to make. 507 million lira. So big ass budget, which is, probably $10,000. This is directed by the deeply underrated Sergio Martino, who I've talked about a couple times before on the show. He also does Craving Desire, A Bear Named Arthur, Beyond Kilimanjaro, Across the River of Blood, Torso, and of course, Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key.
Excellent.
The classic. Has any of us ever watched that film?
I think Eric has.
It's quite disturbing. It's pretty good. Ernesto Gastaldi, 124 writing credits. Hand of Steel, Torso, Your Vice is a Locked Room. You got that. And Sergio Martino is also a writer on it. He also wrote After the Condor, Hands of Steel, 2019, After the Fall of New York.
Yeah.
Starring Claudio Casanelli, who's in Hands of Steel, The Adventures of Hercules, Rock Dancing Death, The Scorpion with Two Tails, which is a pretty good one by Sergio as well. Mel Ferrer, who Falcon Crest, 52 episodes, which of course means he was on The Love Boat and Fantasy Island. And a movie called Nightmare City, sounds familiar, Eaten Alive, and The Visitor. And Gianfranco Barra, who's in The Talented Mr. Ripley, Screw Loose, The Virgo, and The Taurus and the Capricorn. Whatever, man. Okay, great music starting this movie out. Very Goblin-esque Italian music, really solid. Luciano Micheli's music department worked on. He also worked on 98 episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh,
so
a little different.
Yep. A woman stands up, and this pretty creepy-looking guy offers to. A woman is stood up. Sorry, this pretty creepy-looking guy offers to stand in for the guy that didn't show up. But the weird part is she seems to be watching some guy who's kind of following her. So she takes this other guy's invitation to dance, and they dance, and she kind of says, "Leave me alone, but walk me over to the exit." And so he does that. But the stranger does catch up to her, and we get our first killing with the great music leading up to it. There is the guy that he actually waited for. So I'm not sure why he was following her, because he obviously knew where she lived. But anyways, it's an Italian giallo. What you gonna do? And yes, J&B does make an appearance in the movie. The next scene is a police investigation with the ungodly question in the subtitles asking, "So was among the evidence, did you find any love juice?"
Oh, God.
My new favorite phrase.
Oh, my God.
Exact reactions I knew would happen when I said that. Anyway, so the man she was dancing with appears again, and can't quite tell what his point in this movie is yet. If he's either a bad guy, is he a cop, what's he doing there? He does hire a thief to steal from sex workers, and let me tell you, they are a long strip of them in this park. But he drives up on a moped and just pulls their purses away. The guy driving the moped just wants the cash, but apparently these particular women keep very meticulous records of who they sleep with and work with, because they all had little books, and the guy wanted the little books to find this guy's name in them. I'm like, well, all right. That's very nice of him to keep a ledger.
It's what all ladies do.
The guys might not think so.
That's right, yes. Then he then starts to look around to hire someone who can help him find. He's saying he works for somebody who's looking for somebody that's no older than 16 and willing to pay extra for it. Somebody says, "I can find that for you." So she turns up. The young lady could go on to be cast in Grease as a high schooler. So, there is that option of it.
Not very young is what you're saying.
Shows up at the hotel, and the guy says, "Well, he's gone. I'll just pay you." And he ends up following her. This all ties into a murder mystery kidnapping that is going on and leads to a truly odd series of scenes in this movie. This film fluctuates back and forth between comedy and drama. I mean, with the level of concept said in the title, you think it'd be fairly serious. Well, let me tell you about this car chase.
Oh.
The lead guy has a car whose door keeps falling off. Total piece of shit car. And they get in a chase with the cop who earlier saw his partner that's on the moped stole a lighter from another cop. So that cop sees him and they start chasing. following, right? It's all right there.
Mm.
Yeah. So the music suddenly totally switches. It becomes almost what's the British comedian?
Oh, yeah, not yeah,
Benny
please.
Hill?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Benny
Benny
Hill
Hill.
music almost.
The actually
Mhm.
sax?
Almost
Yeah.
like that. It's so weird. It's like, what the hell's going on? And so they start driving. It's like, we got to get away from this guy. Throw the door at him. So he throws the door at the car.
Oh my god.
And it didn't work. Tear the other door off. Throw it at him.
Oh my god.
They run into a guy on a bicycle. It turns the bicycle into a unicycle. And the guy's like, whoa!
Oh my god.
Until he falls over. And they run into a guy there's a guy walking across the sidewalk and almost hits him. So the pedestrian like spins around, gets on his head, spins around on his head, falls over, gets standing back up. The second car comes and he does it again.
Oh my god.
What the fuck am I watching? There's several more little incidences like that. And it's just very weird.
Oh my god.
You do eventually find out that the guy who danced with her in the beginning is actually an undercover cop who's there to stop the ring and stop the sex kidnapper's ring, which results in a really cool scene in a shootout on a roller coaster
Oh.
and an actual serious foot race. And the music's totally different. And up until the comedy scene, I was kind of like, I don't know about this movie. And I thought, what the fuck is this movie? Then after that, it actually got pretty good. It settled down and became a pretty solid giallo with some interesting ideas and kidnappings and like the guy doesn't solve it enough. So it's like, you got to let me stay undercover. Keep me doing this. And it's like, okay, this guy good. It was originally called Violent Milan, which became the name of the film again for about a short time during Italy for some reason. The film played in theaters where inspectors meet a victim's friends. Questioning is Sergio Martino's earlier film, Your Vice is a Electro. I'm guessing that must be like one of his most famous films.
Mm.
The screenwriter later spoke about the film, stating, in my opinion, it's a minor film. The usually very good Martino didn't manage to give the film a decisive shot in the arm. And received some distribution in 1975 in the US, and also known as Too Young to Die. So, you know what? It's all right.
The whole title is based on a scene that doesn't really happen?
She does get killed. The miner
Okay.
does get killed when he follows her back to the area, which turns out to be a guy who's involved with the kidnapping, which is some weird side thing that comes in and then becomes a big part of this. It's a really strange story.
Huh.
But yeah, she did it's implied that the lady at the beginning might have been a minor too, the first lady killed, but that's not sure. But the second lady was said to be 16
Right.
and was killed.
Mm.
But that really isn't what he investigates either, because she's killed in front of him, so he knows what happened to her. So, like, okay, this is part of a box set. The other two is the Scorpion's Tail and the Locked Room. I would say this is the weakest of the three, but it's still pretty damn good.
Was this like a Vinegar Syndrome box set or Arrow? Okay, cool. Wow. Huh.
All right.
I mean, I have very mixed feelings about potentially seeing this. I do hate slapstick very much, but
if you like giallo a lot,
I like giallo.
you might like that. And it's such a strange moment that it's kind of fun to watch because it's so divergent. It's like,
yeah. I mean, the chase scene in Red, oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of it. The other giallo that's famous,
Deep Red.
The chase scene near the end of that is also a little wacky in places.
Not to this point,
but not to that point, man. Huh.
Is there a dubbed version of this?
Probably.
I want to know if he says love juice.
Oh, that's a good one. If the English translated kept that in, I may have to look into that.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, Get back to me on this.
Get back to you with your love juice questions.
I will say, if there's like a better version of Perfect Blue out there, I might want to seek it and watch it because there were some very poor moments of interpretation as well.
What did you what? Oh, from the translations?
From the translations,
yeah.
I was like, no, guys.
That can't be right.
Absolutely not what you meant.
Oh, I forgot to talk about my full frontal nudity scene.
Oh yeah.
That's
Where
right.
if you like Jamie Lannister and you want to see his cock and balls, there's an uncomfortable shot from the foot of the bed, and him lying there,
My God.
and there they are, cock and balls.
Denmark.
I was like, wow. First of all.
Good job, Lannister. Good job.
You know, and those scenes, I imagine you get in there and you give it a couple of tugs because you're just like, listen, I don't want to have a hard-on for this, but I do not want you to see me with a completely flaccid penis, right?
No post pools or anything like that. Let's get a little fluffy going on here.
Just something to, just want to impress the girls and the dudes.
Well, he had quite a career, so it must have been not that bad.
He is, you see him in Game of Thrones. He's ridiculously good looking. He is so good looking as a young kid that you're like, oh, of course. And then in this 35 years later, he is somehow better looking.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the hell is going on with this asshole?
That's some genes, my man. Well done.
So, okay, Eric, that means that the next subgenre is yours.
Yes, it is. So I've got a weird idea. I think I don't know. We've done this before. So I will expand it just a little bit.
Okay.
Looking for check out first or second films. Preferably by somebody famous, or it could be somebody who made a really good film.
Are you talking about a director's first?
Yeah,
or
so director's first or second film.
Okay.
And if they, be cool if they went on to be famous, but if not, and it's just something, you know what, this person only made one film.
One and done.
This is pretty fucking good.
Okay, so it's their first or second film?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Huh.
Okay, I like this.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun challenge, and I've definitely run into some interesting surprises. I will not be doing TV Glow because I've already done it.
That's right. You'd have to watch it again?
I will not watch that first film again. Thank you.
Okay. Well, then, that means this is the end of the episode. This is where I thank everybody for liking and sharing posts, for jumping on the Strange Eons Radio talk page, for calling us on the Strange Eons Radio hotline, which is 253-237-4266, and especially for feeling like you have to support us financially. A great way to do that.
Nice.
Get onto the website. You can either buy us a pizza, which is, I don't even know what that amount is. Is that $1?
Any amount you could, I think it starts at $1, and you can do whatever amount you want.
Look at that. We call it the value for value model because if you're getting any value out of this, then you turn around and give it back to us. So we are talking directors' first or second films next time, and I think that's it. Oh, I got a book coming out. It's called Secret Language of Spiders. Pre-order is up right now.
It will.
What's that website,
2 weeks
Kelly?
from now, it'll.
Yeah, it'll be out in the world. My book birthday, June 25th. And that website is www.writtenbyklyoung.com.
Thank you.
And thank you.
https://www.
We're coming back next week, 7 short days. We'll see you next Thursday.
Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, if you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
It's kind of funny. It's like Babies meets Aliens.